almost like we'll have a practice week to get used to coming back, and then we have a week off to figure out what happened.
Mr. Hoogenboom, I just have to stop you for 1 second.
Yes.
Please note, everyone, I did start the recording. I was a few moments late on it, but I am recording at this time.
Yes, I was about to say something horrible about the mayor, but now I won't. So just to start off with, we are really in the dark. And so I'm going to share everything that we know that will happen. Now, obviously, this reopening is only for the students who have opted into what we used to call blended learning. And so those students and families who opted into remote learning will not at this point be returning to the building. So that means we're talking about 580 students. Now, every one of these students has to have a parental consent form for random testing, which will be going on. And I want to assure all parents that this testing, it's really not all that bad. I had it done several times before we actually shut down. And a swab is put up your nose, but evidently what was being done to people in March, it went way up the nose. Now it's going up the nose, but it's not horrible. It's kind of a tickling sensation, and my eyes do tear up when it happens, but it doesn't hurt. It's just weird. And so I want to assure everyone that this testing, it's not invasive, and every student is supposed to have a testing consent form. So far, though, we only have a little more than 150 students have filled out the form. Now, the form is difficult to access online. It's a little bit like getting a vaccine appointment. You have to navigate these websites and stuff. So if the students have not filled out the consent form, we still want them to show up on Monday the 22nd, and we will give them a hard copy and a lecture about how we want that hard copy returned tomorrow, which would be Tuesday the 23rd. So I hope we will be able to get all those consent forms in. Incidentally, the teachers are also expected to, all teachers are supposed to also fill out a consent form for random testing. Now, obviously, this never should have happened in the first place, right? We were doing really well. We didn't have any cases. Everyone was safe. We were just getting in the swing of things when they shut down high schools in November. As we reopen, the biggest fear is that the city will not change its protocols. There's been some mention by Mayor de Blasio about changing these protocols, and he's going to have to negotiate with the UFT, which is kind of speaking out both sides of its mouth. Some teachers very much want to go back, others don't. And so Michael Mulgrew, who runs the UFT, is sort of navigating that difficult situation. But if there are 2 isolated COVID cases in the building, the DOE's response has been to shut the building. Those of you who are friends or children in elementary schools and middle schools know that it is a nightmare. It's like, you're bouncing back and forth between, my child's at school, my child isn't at school. And so we really hope that will be changed. Another thing that we want to keep in mind is that there's still 1,200 students who will be remote. And our goal is to service all Abraham Lincoln High School students and not treat the ones who come in as, being like, the important students, and the ones who don't come in as being unimportant. All students are important. I want to emphasize that. And the problem that we had in September remains. To teach students, the remote student, the student who's staying at home, at the same time you have students in front of you in the classroom, it's untenable. Someone gets cheated. And so we worked out what's called an SBO, where 3 days a week, the students who come to school and are taught. The remote students work on lessons, but they do not have live instruction. Then 2 days a week, Wednesday and Friday, the remote students have live instruction, and the students who came to school did not come. So the students who come to school, the blended students, come Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. That, by and large, is going to continue, except for these cases. We are going to open up the building on Wednesday and Friday for all students with IEPs, all English language learners, and all students in temporary housing. That number is approximately 200 students who fit that criteria and filled out the blended and opted for blended learning. We're going to bring those students in. We're going to offer them extra help, extra tutoring, and we're going to see how it goes. Now, what's the hope? The hope is we will be able to expand this to more students and service more students on Wednesday and Friday. But at the moment, we're starting with the baby steps, trying to get it right, trying to reacclimate ourselves while we still serve the remote students. So that's what we're looking at moving down the road. I want to remind parents that Thursday and Friday, the 18th and the 19th, are also parent-teacher conferences. And if you haven't, excuse me, if you haven't yet got an email asking you to set up an appointment, you will very, very shortly. So we have those of us who are on the faculty have a very busy 18th and 19th between planning for the reopening and also doing parent-teacher conferences. Mrs. Scott had originally wanted Mr. O'Connor to come and visit to talk about the PSAL and what the PSAL situation is. At the moment, I am perfectly capable of talking about it because it's not all that good. The PSAL has continually frustrated us by having absolutely no plans. And we know that there's certain non-contact sports, such as track. Why we couldn't have our students running track during all this time is beyond me. Why we can't have our students playing tennis is beyond me. So the PSAL says we're going to bring sports back, but initially we will just have conditioning. So the teams will be able to condition, and this will include all students, the remote students, and the students who come to school. So we're really looking forward to starting conditioning for all sports. Now, all students who are involved in the PSAL sports, including the remote students, have to fill out a consent form, and they will be tested every 2 weeks whenever they do testing at the school. They are a top priority because of, you know, when you're doing sports, you're breathing hard and there is a concern. So that is the good news. I am hoping that in this coming week that we will be able to give you more details. The rumor, and it's only a rumor, is that we're going to try to pack in the seasons very, very briefly so that they will start off with like maybe a 5-week fall season, a 5-week winter season, a 5-week spring season in like July or something. And that way all the sports will take place, but that is just a rumor. And, you know, rumors can change, right? They can change as quickly as Andrew Cuomo's approval ratings. So let's just, you know, sit tight and find out what's going to happen. I am looking at my notes, and I think I've touched upon, you know, what I really want to touch upon, but I want to emphasize how excited all of us are to finally be able to greet our students. We miss that personal contact. As effective as Zoom, as effective as Microsoft Teams can be, there is nothing like looking into somebody's eyes and seeing that person. And so for both faculty members and for students, this is very, very exciting.
I have a couple of questions that were sent via email and are posted also in the chat. What are the days going to look like, and how many days during the week will there be?
The blended students, the 580 students, will be coming to school, having a normal schedule Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. And then the students that we bring into the school, at the moment, it will be a shortened schedule. They will only come for about 2 hours. And there are various reasons. First of all, there are some very real staffing concerns because almost all the teachers will be involved with remote students at that point. So we want to work out those staffing concerns. Also, for any of you who have had to sit still and look at a computer screen and do your work for 2 straight hours, it's enough to, I think that's the limit. I think there's also, one of the things we've discovered in this pandemic is that, just sitting still and doing your work is not what it's cut out to be. And so I don't want our students to be treated, like cattle and to have to sit in a pen for the entire day. So that will be 2 hours for the students. And we're sending out an email, inviting those students to come. We'll look at the numbers, we'll work out the staffing. And then, as I said, I hope to expand it.
So if I understand correctly, and based off the emails that haven't gone out throughout the day today, of the 580 students that are stating that they're blended, those that actually have filled out a consent form will have the regular Monday, Tuesday, Thursday schedule, and additional students will have Wednesday, Friday as added, and the Wednesday and Friday will be 2 hours.
Correct.
Now,
Yes.
you said normal Monday, Tuesday, Thursday. What's normal? Normal pre-COVID or the 4 hours that we had in the fall? I say that
Yes,
because
yes.
a couple of
I'm
parents-
sorry.
A couple of
I'm-
parents had their kids travel, spent more time traveling than they did in school. So I guess they want to see if it's worth continuing in class.
Yes, and I'm sorry to say that normal right now is what we were doing in October and the beginning of November. Normal is not what we were doing last year. So obviously we are looking, and the mayor's office is very, very much focused on a dynamic return to in-person learning. So we're looking at getting normal as much as it was in the fall of 2019 as possible. But so far, it's just going to be what it was like this fall.
And one more question. For the kids who actually get selected to do the 5 days, one question is, can you be a little bit more specific on who those kids will be that get the 5 days, that get that study hall? And will others be allowed to attend that study hall timeframe if there are slots available?
Yeah, so first of all, so out of those 580 students, there are 108 students with IEPs. There are 107 students who are English language learners. Now, there's also some overlap there of about 20, 25 students are both have IEPs and are English language learners. Then there are 23 students who are in temporary housing. So these are the students who we have selected first. And so that's approximately 200 students or so. And they're the ones who will be invited. Now, as we move on, yes, if we find open slots, if we work out the staffing problems, we very much do want to have those additional students coming into school. It's just we want to there's a Japanese word that I'm sure I'm mispronouncing, kaizen, which is the idea of small steps, small positive steps to get us to where we want. And that's what we're trying to do.
I'm going to read exactly what this next question is. If you have additional students in blended, will those days change? I guess, are there going to be alternative days, or will this be the steady Monday, Tuesday, Thursday schedule? Will there be cohorts?
I hope not, because once you start to divide up, we originally had 2 cohorts, and it was pretty confusing because you go to school, it was just a mess. So right now, we don't have any cohorts for blended learning. It's just one group, one group, and they come in 3 days a week. Now, if there's another opt-in period, which so far I have not heard about, but knowing the Department of Education, the fact that they've said there will not be another opt-in period means that there will be one, right? Because whenever they're certain about something, it changes. So if there is another opt-in period and a number of parents have enough faith in the safety in the school, and you certainly should, because our students were great. Everyone was wearing masks. Everyone was respecting the upstairs case, the downstairs case, the social distance, and everything else. So if we do have additional parents opt in, we'll see what we can do. But we very much want to have just one group of those students coming 3 days a week. Mrs. Scott, are you talking? Because I think you're on mute.
Sorry, yeah, I was. I just went to the next slide, so while we're talking, people can read the information that you stated, but I still have more questions. Just going back to sports for one moment. They asked for a clarification. How will sports be handled for the students who never had the opportunity to really participate, specifically the 9th and the 10th graders? Because when the 9th graders came in last year, it was shortened.
Yes, that's a wonderful question. And we're going to reach out to all students because, obviously, let's just take a spring sport such as baseball. The 9th graders never had a chance to try out. So yeah, we're going to have to work that out, and we want to emphasize that we want all students who are interested to have the opportunity to try out and to certainly have the opportunity to do the conditioning. And so that is something that we will get more details from Mr. O'Connor on that.
Okay, I have more questions. And I specifically asked Mr. O'Connor not to come on tonight because I knew there wasn't going to be enough information to share. And I think the opening of the school was a lot more important than the sports at this time. So I apologize for not having Mr. O'Connor on.
Oh, that was really very funny because I saw him just before I left the school. And I said, oh, well, I'll see you tonight at the PTA meeting. And he said, Mrs. Scott said I didn't have to come. And I told him that Mrs. Scott was lying. But
no. I figured we would make sure he's on the call next month because that's when you'll have a lot more information obtained.
Yes,
since
I
it's
think
a
that was
month
the right
out,
decision.
The knowing how DOE is, you wouldn't have that information by tonight. But let me go on to the rest of the questions. Will the freshmen this year be able to have a meet greet barbecue or something since all students weren't able to join in on the virtual summer bridge program due to room limits and due to COVID unable to meet in person for the in-person week program? These students really don't know their classmates.
I know, and that's something that we're really going to have to play catch up with. But at the same time, we have to be mindful of all the safety protocols. So I'm not sure what kind of greeting arrangements we will have, and obviously we'll have to keep in mind the various guidelines. For instance, we thought, oh great, we'll have a faculty conference on the 18th, and we'll put everyone in the auditorium and have them several seats apart. And they thought, but what's the policy with large groups? And so we've now changed that to 3 separate faculty conferences, and we'll have to be mindful of that with our students also.
Okay, the next question, and I have the same question. I'm guessing Regents has not been canceled this year. How exactly are we going to handle Regents, or is that too early in this coming back to school?
It's a little bit too early to be sure. what they're saying is that if regents are not canceled, they're only going to be a few regents exams. Algebra, living environment, and I don't really remember, which other ones, because the New York State Board of Regents wants to cancel the exams. The United States Department of Education is saying these exams must go on. So this will be worked out, and obviously, if we do the regents, we're going to have to follow any kinds of social distancing. Oh, Mel, thank you so much. This is why we like to have teachers in this meeting. All right, you saw what Mel put in the chat. So
just real
we'll have
quick,
to, yeah.
for those of you who do not see it, living environment, earth science, algebra 1, and English language arts are the only regions so far that are still a go to occur. All others are pending or have been canceled?
All others will be canceled. Those are the ones
Okay.
that we will have if the state and the Department of Education and the U.S. Department of Education don't work things out. And we will follow social distancing protocols, and we'll manage it somehow.
Okay. Is it true? Oh, yeah. Is it true? Hold on one second. Is it true they may cancel all future regions? Sorry, I'm just repeating the question. All future regions, because New York is one of the few that has it. I believe you answered that already. Is it true that some? Okay. Again, I apologize, Mr. Hoogenboom, but this is the way I'm reading it. Is it true that some parents are suing DOE for the mandatory COVID test in schools, and now it's no longer mandatory for the weekly random testing of students?
My understanding is that there is a protocol for a medical exemption from the mandatory testing. It's obviously, if any parents are interested, please go on the DOE website, and after 20 frustrating minutes, you should be able to find the page. It's parents are always suing over something, in this large system. So yes, and also just to clarify, there is talk about why do we even have regents in the state of New York? And I think it's New York, California, Massachusetts has some special tests, and so that certainly is a discussion going on. So who knows what's going to happen in the future with regents.
Okay, I think one more question that has not been brought up is, once again, how are the, oh gosh, Ms. Sandor, help me out. What's happening next week? Parent-teachers conferences. The parent-teachers conferences next week, is it correct that the parents are to email the teachers in order to get a scheduled appointment?
I believe the teachers should first email the parents, and then work out the appointments. I'm afraid I have to get on that to clarify. I was hoping that Mr. Robinson would be here to take all the heat for that, but we'll figure it out, and I will get back to you, Mrs. Scott, so you can disseminate
Do you want
that
me to
information.
help with that one?
I'm sorry, who's talking?
Yes, Ms.
It's
Mohammed.
Ms. Mohammed. Do you need me to help
Oh
with
yeah,
that one?
I need
Yes.
help all the time.
Hi.
Yes, because just for a few moments, if you can discuss about next week,
Yes.
because it seems there's a contradiction from what was stated a few weeks ago. My assumption is the parents are required to email the teachers, but the principal is stating the teachers should be contacting us.
Well, I mean, teachers are doing reach out, as well as parents can reach out as well to the teachers themselves. I already started a flyer that's on our website now. We didn't want to send it today just because you guys got a lot of calls today about the start of school and important information about COVID and things like that, and how we're gonna start up the blended learning. So the flyer is on our website. So we're asking parents to please reach out to teachers. And there's also directions as to how to reach out to the teachers. So you can either email them on the website, or you can look up their email address. And to find the schedules for your kids, please go on to my student account, the NY student account, or you can go on Pupil Path. If you don't have access to any of that, please email me. Once again, your student's first and last name, date of birth, student ID, and parent name, and the current address. And then I can send over the creation code for the My Student account, or the registration code for Pupil Path. So that's the information we have for parent-teacher conference next week.
And I just saw in the chat, if the teachers don't get back to you, please contact Ms. Mohammed or contact me, right? Yeah. So, most teachers, do a great job, but some of them, still have dial-up and AOL accounts. So, yeah. We'll work it out.
Yeah.
Use the principal as a last resort.
Yeah,
because he will make sure things happen, but let's try to make the teachers work first before we get the big guns in.
I would say, give them a few, like a day or two, 24 to 48 hours until you get an answer. Please don't count the weekend. The weekend is not considered a working day for teachers. So don't expect, some teachers do answer on their free time, but they're not obligated to. So if you email them Friday afternoon and you don't get an email on Monday, just wait until Tuesday. Hopefully by then they'll answer, because Monday they're going in. So just so everybody knows that, I would say if you are having issues reaching a teacher, you can email them one more time. If not, you can CC the supervisor, or you can just let me know and I'll try to reach out if you don't know the supervisor. And just, yeah, definitely we would try to keep the principal as a last resort. But if he opened it up that he's welcome to it, I guess it's up to him. But we try to give them a chance to respond.
I personally would think Tuesday is too late. Most jobs will not allow you to ask for a time off a few hours prior. So I would say, if not by tomorrow evening, late afternoon, I would say Monday midday. Get with Ms. Mohammed.
If they emailed them on Friday.
If I don't get a response by Monday and I need time off, I would definitely be emailing you and the APs, because waiting till Tuesday doesn't give me enough time. That's just me personally. I wouldn't wait till Tuesday.
You're talking about if you need time off, because then again, if you think of it, they're also getting multiple emails from other parents. Mm-hmm. So that too is a lot of work for them as well. So, it's up to the parent how they feel. If they, 24 to 48 hour courtesy, if they don't feel they feel that it's more than enough time. It's totally, up to your discretion.
And of course, yes, if you do have a concern about getting time off and getting the right time off, and if you ask for, half an hour and then it turns out you have to change that, if that's a problem at work, by all means, try to nail it down, on Monday, and we will do our very best to cooperate and make sure that happens.
And am I correct, even though you will only have time afternoon Monday and evening, I'm sorry, it's the 18th and 19th, correct?
Correct.
Okay,
yes.
So even though we have those 2 days, the teachers will make time throughout the weeks to come to meet with a teacher during their school hours of working hours.
Totally. It, we understand. We understand, A, that people work, and B, that working hours have gotten even weirder with the pandemic. And teachers are willing to meet with parents, all different times, within their own constraints of their own families, and also when they have to meet with classes and the students, definitely.
Just touching back with the parent EBT card, unfortunately, the school does not control that information. That is done through the parent EBT website. We will provide information and a link to that information, but it's not DOE driven, which is why the school doesn't have a lot of that information. Last I saw, I think a week ago, was that everyone should have gotten the spring funds by now, and from 2020. As for fall of 2020 and spring of 2021, though that is still pending. They don't have a date as to if and when it'll be released. Executive Board or Ms. Mohammed, do you guys have anything different on the EBT information?
No, you're absolutely on point. That's the information we have. The school year 2020 to 2021, they have not funded anything, but everyone should have gotten the funds for 2019 to 2020. I'm sorry, 2020, March 2020, since then.
So do not throw those cards out. Even though it seems like we'll never get anything, just hold on to the cards a little bit more. As we get information, because we do frequent the websites, we do attend the meetings that they have once a month, we will make sure to have that information posted as soon as we get that. Are there any more questions for Mr. Hoogenboom? His staff will stay on a little bit longer, but I know he's getting ready for the opening of the school finally. So he only has a few more minutes. Does anybody have questions? Please, I will open up the board for anyone to unmute and talk. I'll give you guys a few minutes. That includes the executive board, because I know you guys have a million more questions.
No questions here.
Teachers, do you have any questions for the principal? Ms. Meadows, I'll ask that in 1 second.
Oh, I actually do have one question. If the student was programmed for virtual classes like gym and like a law class, and is a blended student, I noticed in Pupil Path those classes are not there anymore. Are they still following the same schedule for those virtual classes, even though they're in the building again?
Let me, I'm more than willing to run off at the mouth, but let me check just to make sure my information is correct. Because I know we were measuring space in the gymnasiums where we want to allow 12 feet for students because of the breathing when students exercise. So my understanding is that those classes will be in the building, but thank you for that question. And I will get specificity, which is really what you want, by tomorrow.
We're gonna hold you to that.
Well, good. You always hold me to things. As a matter of fact, on my list was another parent newsletter, another Lincoln log that I have to do to stay on Mrs. Scott's good side.
Now, are you changing that to every 2 months?
I was planning on changing it to twice a year, but
I will allow every 2 months.
Right. Well, I'll
Especially now, since there's so much information.
Yeah. Yes, I think it is important to continue to do that. And I would like to just remind everyone that it's going to be a mess. We've gotten used to the pandemic. In some ways, it's made little things easier, and we're going to have to go back to having a slightly more rigid schedule, and we're going to have to remind ourselves of all kinds of little things. And that's why we're really glad that we're coming back now in March in order to work out work out these little kinks and be able to open up in September, really, really focused on everything. So my plea to parents, to faculty is let's cut everyone a little bit of slack. Let's, tell everyone where we're falling short so we can get better, but to understand that it is going to be, a little bit of a mess. And that's what every opening always is. Every September is always a mess. And we just have to work our way through it, but it's really going to be wonderful. Now, I just saw something about the vaccine site. It's going to be, we're getting conflicting signals from the Department of Health. They're definitely going to be out by April 11th. And the schedule is, right now, the vaccine site is open from Thursday to Sunday. And what they're going to do once we reopen is they're going to be open on Thursday and Friday from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. And on Saturday and Sunday, they'll have more normal daytime hours. And so that way, the vaccination site will not be open when the school is open. As far as student breakfast goes, which a limited number of students take advantage of the breakfast, we haven't yet decided whether we're going to have a few tables set up in the student cafeteria where the vaccination site is, or, and I hope Mel isn't listening, or we're going to use some science rooms on the first floor, and as breakfast rooms in the first floor corridor as soon as the students come walking in. So we haven't yet decided on that. Oh, good. And Mel says Mel's on the second floor. So the science teachers on the first floor are not here.
All right, I have quite a few more questions that came in. Sorry, Mr. Hoogenboom, you're on the fire pit a little bit longer. What happened to computer science?
I don't know. Is Ms. Fontana still on?
I'm here.
Yeah. What happened to computer science?
We still have it. So I'm wondering what the question is directed at.
Okay, well, we'll give Ms. Meadows just a
Sure.
few more minutes to respond to that. And actually, thank you, because that brings up the vet program. Would the kids still be coming in at first period, doing what they need to do, and then brought down to their cohort location?
I believe so. We haven't yet worked that out, but we definitely do want the vet students to be coming in, and the animals have been just dealing with the same old people. It'll be nice for them to see new people.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Ms. Meadows?
Yes. Hi.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
please go ahead.
Okay, so my son has a friend who's, he's in the 9th grade, and he signed up for the computer science program, but he was not giving that as a class this year. Whereas my son, who's in digital media, did get digital media programs and classes to take. So I was just wondering, how is he supposed to graduate with enough credits in computer science when he didn't have that as part of his curriculum this semester or last semester?
So you don't need a specific number of credits in computer science. Essentially, you just need 8 elective credits. So there's tons of other classes that count towards those 8 credits. If the student is not in the computer science program but wants to join the computer science program, they can just send me their information and we can get them in. So if they've missed their freshman year, that's fine. They review all the same concepts in grade 10. So we have kids that come in for a year, maybe leave the program or come in later in the year. And then there's some guided, once you start getting into the 11th and 12th grade, there are some different tracks that you can take. We offer some EP classes, and then we also this year have incorporated the Cisco Academy, where students actually receive licenses to work in IT. That could also lead to some job opportunities straight out of high school working for Cisco. So as long, if the student is still interested, all they have to do is contact their guidance counselor. And if the guidance counselor doesn't add it, they can just contact me, and we'll get them in.
Thank you.
Okay, and Ms. Meadows, please, make sure that we do get the name of that student. You could send it to Ms. Muhammad or myself, and we will follow up to make sure.
Thank you.
I believe I just have 2 more questions. I think this question will probably go to Ms. Muhammad. How will the kids know what classes they go in person? And I guess, I know I saw emails today stating that they could go on Pupil Path.
Yeah.
But when will that be posted? Because will it conflict with what classes they're taking now?
I saw an email from Mr. Green earlier that Pupil Path was up and running. I could be reading something just that it was for teachers that they can go in and do stuff, but it should be up. And if not, then I'll get confirmation from Mr. Robinson tomorrow to see when it should be up and running. And I'll send that out in the email that I'm going to be sending out to parents about the whole flyer and parent-teacher conference.
So I'm sure there'll be confusion for the next 2 to 3 weeks when we get this new program up and the kids go back to school, like it happened several times in the fall. Will the kids be given that leniency of, because they're being transferred back and forth until their program is good? Will they be given leniency on their grades again?
Yes,
For
that's
the second term.
Yeah, that's Department of Education policy. And we will bend over backwards, for leniency. And of course, students who do not pass their classes do receive what's called an NX, and they have time to make up that work for credit. And parents will continue to have the option for the students to, instead of getting a number grade, to get a CR for credit instead of a number grade. So all that remains. I saw 2 other questions in the chat that I'd like to quickly. One parent pointed out that there are other students who need support besides the English language learners, students with IEPs, and those in temporary housing. We're very much aware of that, and we're looking forward to adding them very, very quickly to a 5-day-a-week status.
Mind you, they said they want to make sure they added that to your list. So it's important.
Yeah, right. Yes, it is important. And then the conditioning, my understanding is the conditioning is for all fall, winter, spring sports. And I look forward to seeing just a large number of students out on the athletic field, spaced properly, doing conditioning, which I always hated, right? It's so boring. But I guess when you've been cooped up in your apartment, it's fun to do a few jumping jacks.
And I know this may sound weird, but this may happen. Did I hear correctly? Even though they are remote students, as long as they submit a consent form, they can come in and be part of this conditioning in person.
Yes, yes.
And though a remote learning at this time, and I know you've said this already, but I'm just restating, a remote student cannot go to blended at this time, but blended can still go remote.
Exactly. As a matter of fact, the threat is that if you don't get your consent form in, we move you to remote. That's the Department of Education threat. Yes. So it's like a one-way street, right? You can only go from blended to remote, not from remote to blended.
Ms. Mohammed, is there any way we can get the PDF form of this consent form and assist you on sending the actual PDF form out?
I actually was going to tell you that it's actually posted on our website. I was going to say that a little later. I heard Mr. Hoogenboom say that, we're going to send them out during on the 22nd, but it's already up on our website. If you click on if you go to our recent news, it's like, I think the 2nd or 3rd listing on there. It
Okay, and is
says-
it okay that we can assist with sending it out and making sure that the parents understand that it's to be either emailed to you or brought in person?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
would be
we won't be
wonderful.
part of it coming back
Right.
to us. We don't want the form cannot come to the
It's-
PTA, but we
It
will
says
send it out to assist.
COVID-19 consent form, click here for the document, and it's literally the third post. Actually, yeah, yep, third post on the recent news. If you go to alhs.nyc, you scroll down and it says COVID-19 consent form, click here for the document, and you just click there and it takes you to the document. And you can print out the document and you fill it out, or you can use any like computer program that you can use to basically fill it out electronically.
Okay, I believe there's one more question. Ms. Meadows, can you verbally restate your question? Are you referring to gym academic requirements?
For the conditioning, for the for sports conditioning, are there academic requirements in order for the students to partake in that?
I have to get clarity from PSAL. I understand that they were debating, there's usually academic eligibility requirements to participate in any team sport. And I know that within PSAL, there was some debate as to whether that was, they wanted to uphold it. I don't know what their final decision was. So that's somewhere where we will have to give you clarity.
Thank you.
Okay, that covers all the questions that everyone has at the moment. If we missed any, we'll try to pick them up towards the end, or if anything, we'll forward it to Mr. Hoogenboom and his team first thing tomorrow morning. So Mr. Hoogenboom, thank you so much. We're going to continue with our meeting, but I appreciate your time. As I stated, this was very important, and thank you so much at the last minute to be on.
Okay, well, thank you, because I'm just so excited that we're reopening, and so talking about it is just it's a tonic. So yeah, thank you for this meeting. I really
There's going to
appreciate
be social distancing parties, so we're with you.
it. All right, thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, everyone, we're going to try to blaze through the meeting. I'm sorry that it took so long, but I know that part was very important, which is why I let it overlap a little bit longer. For those additional people that are speaking, specifically the teachers, I apologize. So thank you so much for sticking on. This is the Lincoln log that Mr. Hoogenboom was stating. We started out once a month, but now we're going to go to every 2 months that he's going to have the Lincoln log. It has a lot of great information, either about a specific teacher or specific details that are going on. Oh, okay. This is our second most important thing. The bylaws, for those who don't know, actually, I will have Ms. Sandor speak this one, because Ms. Sandor, Ms. Brown, and several other people put a lot of work into this, and I want them to speak this, because this is their baby. So go ahead, Ms. Sandor.
Okay, as everybody knows, we made some amendments to the bylaws, which are required to be reviewed every 3 years. So we put a committee together, and we did that. With the amendments were read at the last meeting, so I'm not going to do that right now. I have been posting the document of the compare from the 2017 version to the 2021 version, which also was on the website and sent out on the Facebook group. I hope everybody's had a chance to read them, and if there are any questions, we can talk about them now, or we can proceed to voting to adopt them. Does anyone have any questions? Okay, I motion. Oh, somebody just came in. I'm sorry. I thought somebody was talking. I motion that we proceed to adopt the amendments to the bylaws in full. Can I hear a second?
A second.
I'll third that, and my poll just stopped working. So if we could, each person, I'm gonna call out your name. If you could either say Ms. Sandor, if you can write this down, not by name though. If everyone can just say yay, nay, or abstain as I call your name, I would greatly appreciate it, because in order for the bylaws to get passed, we need a 2/3 vote. So again, it's yay, nay, or abstain. Mr. Sandor,
Yay.
this would include the teachers as well. Ms. Fontana,
Yes.
Ms. Sandor,
Yay.
Ms. Alston,
Yay.
Ms. Meadows,
Yay.
Ms. Medina,
Yay.
Ms. Hawley, I'm sorry, was that a yay or a nay?
Yay.
Thank you. Ms. Lee, Ms. Brown,
Yay.
Ms. Meadows,
Yay.
Mr. Jones,
Yay.
I believe this is Miss Attwood ending in 3154,
That is me, and it's yay.
and you are greatly missed.
Thank you for letting me listen in on the phone. I'm sorry, it's just such a messy time right now.
I got it, but you are missed, I can tell you that. Ms. Hutchinson? Okay. Yanar?
Yay.
Thank you. Ms. Humphrey?
Yay.
Ms. Gomez?
Yay.
Michelle?
You didn't hear me? I said yay.
Thank you. Giles? Shana Giles?
Yay.
Ms. Belair?
Bell?
Bell, sorry.
Yay. Yay.
I always mess that up. I'm so sorry, Ms. Bell.
It's-
The E always gets
I
me.
know.
Ms. Stanley?
Yay.
Okay. Ms. Mohammed, you don't have a say in the vote. I apologize. Is there anyone I did not call that would like to say yay, nay, or abstain?
Miss Hutchins said yay.
Okay, thank you. All right, Ms.
You're welcome.
Ms. Sandor, I think that is everyone that's on the list. Do we have a good 2/3 vote of yays?
We certainly do.
Thank you so much, everyone. I have to go and give a huge, huge thank you to the bylaw committee team. This is one of 3 major requirements that we had going on that we wanted to get done this year. And I actually have to say all 3 have actually been accomplished, but the most important one was our bylaw committee. We will be finalizing that, signing it off, maybe even this weekend, and getting it out to everybody. They will also be posted on the website, our Facebook page, and emailed as people would like them. So thank you, Ms. Medina, Mr. Jones, Ms. Brown, Ms. Attwood, Ms. Sandor. Thank you so much. And to the family members of those teams, because my understanding is you guys had a lot of meetings. I appreciate you guys allowing your family to be part of this committee. So I thank you. A huge congratulations to you all for ensuring that this was completed. So thank you. All right, moving on. Unfortunately, Mr. O'Connor is not on today. Ms. Fontana, thank you so much for your time. Hopefully you're still on.
I'm here.
Okay. Believe you just need, are you able to share or do you want me to come off and you share? I know
think
it's
I'm
tricky.
good.
All right, go right ahead.
Okay, so can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Great. Okay, so I'm just going to go over some translation tools. I'm going to go over how to set up Google Chrome to automatically translate, how to translate a PDF, and then also how to translate a document in Microsoft Word. And then I'll use your bylaws as an example because there were some issues with that document.
There is a screen being shared, but I don't think it's yours.
Do you see the PTA sign-in sheet?
Now I do. It just
Okay,
updated.
that's fine. Yep. Okay, so this is my Google Chrome browser. In your Google Chrome browser, there are 3 dots that are over here in the right-hand side. This will bring up your menu. From here, we're going to go straight to settings. And these are all your settings for Google Chrome. Down here in the advanced section, we're going to go straight to languages. So here where it says language, this is where you set up your default language, like the language that you would like to be known as your default language. Right now I had it set up for Arabic. I was playing around with it this afternoon, prepping for today. So I'm going to add in English as my main language, right? You would choose whatever language it is that you would like to use as the default. And when I do this, of course, this is what's happening. Okay, sorry, I had some issues this afternoon. Okay, so I removed Arabic and I'm leaving English, and that makes this right here, right? This language is used when translating pages. So this is now my default language. When I was playing around with it this afternoon, I must have hit something that had it automatically switch over. So these websites are actually in different languages. This was in Spanish. Looks like I already automatically trained. Here we go. Great. Okay, so here. Okay, so up here in the toolbar, there is a little button that you will see with a G that just disappeared for me. That's great. Okay, I wanted to try this one. Here we go. Okay, so there's a little button here with the G. I think this one got screwed up because there is an option to translate within the website. So when I click on this little G here, it's going to give me the default. I can also switch to any other language. Okay, and you can see how this just automatically translates the entire page for me. You can set it up so that it always translates to your language. So this way you don't even have to do these steps. You can just automatically have it translate. Again, you can also switch to any other language. Okay. So does anybody have any questions about setting up Google Chrome? Great. Okay, so the next thing that I'm going to, right, and I wanted to show you that, right, you can also translate these, right, Google Forms, okay? Okay, so the next thing we're going to look at is a PDF. So I'm going to go straight into Google Translate. And you have the option of like typing in some text here, but we're going to just translate the entire document. So I'm going to go to Documents, and we're going to go to Browse on my computer. And I'm going to choose, not that. Okay, so this is our schedule for our student tech workshops that we run on Wednesdays for March. I'm going to choose my language, right? There's tons of languages here. And then I just hit the translate button over here. And the document automatically comes up And that is not in Spanish. But it's still translating, sorry. Okay, and here's the document translated automatically into Spanish. So this is the easiest thing to do a PDF is to just throw it straight into Google Translate. It's pretty easy, right? The next, anybody have any questions about PDF documents? Okay. I can't see the
no,
chat,
no,
so
I'm sorry. I couldn't get the mute button off. There is a question. How reliable are the translations?
so I'm not quite sure. I don't speak a second language, so I'm not exactly sure, but I would assume that you would be able to get a pretty good translation on that. Right, from the limited Spanish that I do speak, this does look pretty well translated, right? But again, I got a C-, so. Okay. So then the next thing I'm gonna go over is how to use Microsoft Translator. Not this one. Okay. So here is a Word document that is written in English. It's the same thing, right? This again is our schedule for student tech workshops on Wednesdays. Notice how I'm plugging the student tech workshops. So if your students are having some struggles, right, we're offering workshops specifically made by students, and they're actually co-run by students working on some of these tech issues, okay? So from this document, I'm going to go into review, and then there's just a translate button here, and they're going to ask you if you want to translate a selection or a document. So for this one, we're just going to translate the whole document. And then what happens is it opens up in a new file, completely translated for you. Okay, right, so here we go. Here is our document completely translated to Spanish. And again, I'm not 100% sure on the accuracy, but you should be able to get enough information. And then I wanted to look at your bylaws because there's so much formatting on the document. Even when I removed the formatting on the document, then it came out written this way, like all vertical. So it was a little strange. So this is an area where instead of translating the entire document, you might want to just translate sections. If I go through and I highlight the entire document, it will come up. So I'm just going to show you how to just translate for a section. So again, when I go to translate, instead of clicking the entire document, I'm just going to translate the selection, and that comes up in this pane, window pane on the right, where they show you what it is in the original document, and then there's right, the translated version, and you can again switch to any. I'm just randomly grabbing some languages here, and it all comes up there. So the only deficit is that it comes up in that side pane instead of like as a brand new document that you can then save. And then all of these things, right, here's our, right, I can translate our school website into any language. All of these things were then updated to the Parent Tech Help Desk, where I am much more articulate because I was able to record it 5 times before posting. So here, right, there is a translation on Google Chrome, how to translate a PDF, and how to use Translator in Microsoft Word. And these are all videos that just kind of walk you through the steps that I just walked you through.
Now, how many times throughout the year do you post videos, or you only post the videos of how to as families ask?
As families ask, as students ask, so every now and then I'll have a teacher come to me and say, hey, I just learned this great trick. And I'm like, great, can you videotape it? And we'll throw it up on our Tech Help Desk.
Yeah, no, that was great. I didn't even realize you had a how-to page. So now I got to go on the website and find it.
Okay.
Because I had looked down when you showed where it was.
Okay, hold on. I'll grab it back up again. So here, there is a Parent Tech Help Desk. So if you go under Parents, it goes straight to the parent tech help desk. And there is also a student tech help desk. They're pretty much, I usually try to keep the same information on both of them. There might be a slight variation. The student tech help desk, I think, definitely has, might have a few more, you know, kind of like visual built in, right? Like this video is, I think, on the parent tech help desk, but like is embedded within the student tech help desk. So, and if the students have any issues, most of the things that they have an issue with, they can probably be answered here. Most of it's pretty easy. I try to identify which ones are videos and which ones are something that you have to read, right? Like some of this is directly straight from Microsoft, right? Like here's one that goes straight through some screenshots. And then if the student is having difficulty that can't be solved by anything on this page, they can just fill out this form here. It goes directly to myself and Ms. DeLeo. And for those of you that don't know, Ms. DeLeo has been in the building since we shut every day, Monday through Thursday from 9 to 1 in order to help students with their tech issues and to be able to meet with students one-on-one and kind of, if there's a hardware issue, walk them through what needs to get done and replace devices.
There were names on there about pupil path and attendance. Are those names still valid to reach out to people if they had problems? It was right on your form that you were showing.
Yep, I'm just gonna pull it back up. So we put this here because what happened was we were having a ton of kids submitting a form that had nothing to do with tech issues, and they were getting to us instead of the appropriate people. So anything that, if a student is having any issue with pupil path, that goes straight to Mr. Green, right? He's there, N Green 11. And any kind of issue with their attendance being taken or not registering or anything that has to do with attendance, they can just reach out to Miss Wong. She's J Wong 4. Okay, this is also, by the way, the form that students need to be able to reset their password. We no longer have the ability to reset passwords. So this form right here would be to reset their password, which is also a pretty common student issue.
Excellent. This was great information. Does anybody have any questions or any how-tos that you would like to know about?
Just want to say that's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing these
You're
tips.
welcome.
And I'm so glad that there's videos to like refer back to later on. Thank
Great.
you.
And if you guys have any suggestions, please send them over and either myself or somebody in our team will film them to put them up there for you.
Thanks also. Hi, this is Miss Medina. I just wanted to say that I really like the read aloud feature that's on the Edge browser and also on Word and probably other MS Office documents, apps. So I just learned about that a few months ago and I enjoyed it. I think it would be really good for students.
Yes, there's actually a walkthrough from Microsoft about Immersive Reader, and then Mr. Niemans did a great video showing kids how to log directly into Teams and how to access Immersive Reader through Microsoft Teams.
Thanks.
All right, thank you so much. I asked if you could stay on maybe just a little bit longer, especially if we only have you and Yanar as the teachers.
Sure.
At least give you guys a 50-50 chance to win. Otherwise, it's going to be giving it straight to Yanar.
Right.
Gotta let us sweat it out a little bit. I don't have much details on the graduation and pictures except for what's here, unless the teachers or Miss Mohammed have anything different. But as far as I know, nothing has changed. The price is still $180 for senior dues, and pictures are still scheduled with the information here. All right, I'm gonna move it on. I'm going to have Mr. Sandor show his screen real quick, just so everyone has an idea of what their numbers are.
Yep.
Then we're gonna just mosey on through a few more slides before we try to close this up. So right now, all he's gonna do is just show you your numbers if you don't already have it. So I am gonna stop sharing my screen. Please share yours.
Okay, great. Let me see if I can do this. This is my first test as a volunteer here. If I fail miserably, well then I guess I have to leave. Let's see. I think I actually might have to leave. I use a Mac and there's some security levels here, so I apologize. Let's see if I can do this. All right. Let's see here.
Mr. Sandor, are you able to share it in the chat maybe?
Oh yes, actually I can do that. That's a wonderful idea. Thank you. Okay, so thank you for that. All right.
Once you do that, I'll save it and I'll show it on my. You got Miss Brown?
I was gonna say I was just gonna read it off, but you could if you want to do that.
Sure.
You can read it off. Oh, that's even better.
Yep.
Hold on.
Now the only question, of course, that I have a spinner, and I'm going to make sure that I'm able to, for full disclosure, make sure that I'm going to still try to share my screen.
Okay.
All right.
Miss Brown, can you read off the numbers and the names?
Okay. I don't see it yet.
Oh, all right, but 1 second here. 1 second. I've got it right here. Okay. All right. Okay. I apologize if I've spelled anyone's name right, and I also believe I have everyone because there's only 2 teachers. Thank you. It was pretty easy to figure out which ones are faculty and which ones are parents. So.
Okay. So for parents, number 1 is Miss Haley, Carlota Haley. 2 is Catherine Lee. I have 3 for George Jones. 4 for Judith Hutchinson. 5, Lashone Meadows. 6 is Letitia Medina. 7 is Michelle Gomez. 8 is Michelle. 9 is Rhodesia Humphrey. If I'm pronouncing it wrong, I apologize. 10 is Shelley Bell. 11 is Shayna Giles. 12 is Shelly Ann Stanley. Teachers is Mel for number 1, and number 2 is Fontana. That's
Okay.
it.
Those numbers are going to slightly adjust. I'm sorry, Mr. Jones, but you're part of the SLT team.
Just skip it.
Okay.
Do you want to just skip it, Mr. George?
We'll leave 3 as if 3 comes up, we'll just do it again.
Sorry about that.
Okay. No, you didn't know. That was my apology. So I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, Mr. Jones.
Yeah, just read it through, but yeah.
Okay. All right.
All right. So I'm going to move on so we can push through. Okay, Mr. Sandor?
Yep. Wonderful.
And if need be, just get with the team if you need them to share the screen instead.
Yes. Thank you.
No problem. No, thank you. I'm sorry to put you on the spotlight.
Quite all right.
Thank you, Mr. Sandor.
Of course.
And thank you, Ms. Brown.
No problem.
Here's some additional information, some helpful sites that we'll keep repeating throughout the meeting, or have the school website, Abraham Lincoln website, Pupil Path if you don't already have it, My Student Account, the Abraham Lincoln Instagram website, and the PTA website. Ms. Mohammed, do you want to just take about 3 minutes to discuss Pupil Path and the school's account specific to Go ahead.
Hi. Sure. So pupil path, that's where you can see it's basically the same as my student account. The only difference is that my student account is actually from the New York City Department of Education, whereas you get your actual official report card for your student and transcripts. You can also see the official attendance that is marked on our school DOE system. Pupil path is more for teachers use. That's where they, actually update everything like grades and things like that. Schedules are available there as well. And it's just more, it's more it's more up to date. Like if you want the here and the now kind of thing. If you need access to either Pupil Path or the My Student account, please email me your student's name, first and last, their date of birth, their school ID number, the parent name, and the current address, so we can go ahead and send you that. You do need the school's account, the My Student account. You need that for the consent forms that Mr. Hoogenboom was talking about earlier. Does anybody have any questions about that? Thank you for putting my email in the chat.
No problem. This time I have a Word document, so I'm going back and forth as best I can. All right, moving on. Mr. Sandor, did we just lose him?
He just came back in.
Okay.
I saw. He must have.
This is another great info. Right after he discusses the Treasury report, we have some amazing news thanks to the Finance Committee. Mr. Sandor, first start with the Treasury report and lead into the amazing news that your team has put together.
Sure. So my screen sharing is back. I'm sorry for the interruption. In terms of actual activity, you'll see there are no expenses. Our balance was transferred from or updated to the new account. Our ending balance as of the end of the month, February 28th, which is the last official bank balance. So bank balances will come at the end of the month. And so for accuracy, we'll report out the actual dollar figures, $1,049.29. So our bank balance is unchanged in the month of February. I'm sorry, so Leah, so you've asked for a quick update on our fundraising activities. Is that correct? Excellent.
Yes.
Good.
This is the best, second best news that I've had this evening. So please go right ahead.
Yes, by all means. So given the pandemic and given the fact that we haven't seen each other in person, fundraising and collection of dues has certainly been an issue. So the fundraising committee here and the PTA board has spent quite a bit of time looking at different options for collecting dues in a remote environment. And we've also looked at what other local schools have used and considered lots of different options. We've settled on a website named CheddarUp and as our fundraising vehicle. So CheddarUp, so thank you, Ms. Scott, the website here. So CheddarUp will allow you to create a web page that's a collection point. It's a little bit of a long URL, but all you have to do is just click on the link itself and you'll be fine. You'll basically be able to go there. Some of the nice things about CheddarUp from the PTA perspective, it's very easy to use. There's no registration. You don't have to create a login or use any of these other systems. You can just pay your dues with whatever payment method you like. And it's very quick and easy, and it will help us not only collect funds, but recognize who is contributing dues and also contributions as well. So we can, of course, thank all of you as well. There are some other features that will help us, I think, starting in the spring and certainly in the fall, really scale up our activities. And so excited by that as well. And I think, Ms. Scott, you were saying that there are actually some contributions that are coming in already, which is really wonderful news. From the treasurer's perspective, you know, those funds are on their way to our bank account, so they're not here as of now, so I can't report them as income, but I am really looking forward to at our next treasurer's meeting, at the next treasurer's report in the next meeting, to report on our fundraising activities. And I'm very hopeful that as many parents and teachers and others would like to make any contributions they'd like. I'm seeing a few questions in the chat. Cheddar Up does take debit cards and credit cards. They will take virtual checks. If you'd like to do a virtual check and use a electronic payment, they'll take that too.
None of that information we see.
Yes, and so so thank you for that. So the other issue too that's nice about this system, I know some other schools, I believe Fort Hamilton High School, which is a little bit larger than ours, also uses the system. It's transparent to us. We obviously don't want to, nor do we need to see what payment method you're using. So it's very secure, and we would see only the information that you, the parent, donor, teacher would actually provide. So, we would certainly ask for like your name so we can know who you are. But that having been said, if someone wants to contribute anonymously, well, that's your prerogative as well. Again, we did look at a lot of other websites to collect money. Some had lots of ads, and some had a tremendous, much higher transaction costs. And we think for where we are right now as a PTA, this is really the best, the least expensive, the easiest to use for both parents and teachers and the PTA itself. So we're really looking forward to using this as a vehicle to raise funds to, of course, do really wonderful things with the funds. So that's where we are. Let me see if there's any other questions that I can answer.
Actually, this next question, Ms. Muhammad,
Yes.
we just put this Cheddar Up page together this week. Will we be able to share it on our PTA page, or will you be able to assist us on posting it on the Abraham Lincoln PTA page?
Of course.
Excellent.
Wonderful.
Thank you. We'll get with you tomorrow on that. We wanted to first put it to everyone before we we put it out there on the page. So thank you.
Absolutely.
No problem.
Sarah, it might also be nice if we, put it in the news as well, so that it,
Sure.
like, people don't have to look for it in the PTA page, like it'll actually be in the stream.
That would be great. Yes, definitely.
I can definitely put it on the recent news. You want me to put it there? Yeah.
Right, like add it to the PTA page, but then like they don't have access to the news feed. So, right, if you can add it into the news feed, it would be nice.
Yeah, I'll add it to the newsfeed, not a problem.
And some ideas that we have going on right now, Mr. Sandor, you wanna, without going into full details,
Right.
maybe express some ideas, like a possible surprise that may be coming up in the next 3 weeks for teachers? And
I mean, you want me to spill a surprise? I mean,
I'm just saying surprise.
What would the fun be?
But this is where funding is going, where we,
how would we? I mean,
say thank you to teachers.
I mean, I don't want to ruin a potential surprise.
Potential surprise.
But we love teachers, and so
Exactly.
we want to make sure that's just one of the things that we'd like to.
So the teachers that are on here, don't say anything and
Yes.
spoil the surprise further, but there may be something knocking on the door in a few weeks at the school. But we're not going to go any further into that.
No.
That is from the entire PTA.
We've set it
Some
up
other things that would be coming up is for the seniors. We have 2 Hope Awards that will be given to 2 uprising seniors. And if at all possible, depending on what PTA donations come in, we are also looking at possibly giving awards out to 1 or 2 additional students in each grade. But then again, that all depends on the funding that comes in the next couple of weeks, if we're able to do that. So those are just like quick ideas that we had that we've been discussing this week. The more donations we get, the more ideas we can do before the end of the school year that will benefit not just the students, but the teachers as well. And if there's any projects that come to mind that are possible, I don't know, a new billboard, something you guys need for the room that was just being built. Oh my gosh, Mrs. Sandor, what
The
room was that?
courtroom.
The courtroom
that was just
classroom
built.
was something
Yes,
that
yeah.
we were wondering. We didn't know what the funding was supplied for that and whether there was anything additional that possibly we could look at,
What-
helping with.
What's included in the original grant and
Vet
what might not.
program, right? Vet program may need a few more cages. If there's any ideas like that,
Mhm.
bring it to the table and we will put it out for a vote pending on how much money we are able to get in.
Right.
Perhaps we won't have it for this year, but we can maybe forecast it for next year and do some major fundraising. So the beginning of midpoint of fall, we can really get things going.
Mhm.
And if we
Would you
have
like
any
suggestions now?
yes, please go ahead with suggestions. We'll write them down.
I have a dream for a digital display over by the auditorium where the students enter the building for announcements and, kind of, like you guys have seen these kinds of TVs that just kind of flash through things that are coming up and news for the students.
Do you have possibly a quote or description that you could maybe send
I
our
can get you-
way?
I can get you one.
Please do.
Sure.
And then Miss Attwood and Mrs. Sandor, maybe that's one of our first major fundraisers that we can put out there.
Yep, absolutely. The nice thing about our fundraising vehicle here is that you can, well, obviously we can collect dues, but if there's, we can also do a separate kind of fundraising for specific purposes or purchases, that sort of thing. So yeah, that's definitely possible.
Excellent. Any other ideas? Yanar, anything for science that you may think of? I don't know, additional calculators or microscopes or something that the school hasn't been giving you, but you've been dying for the last couple of years.
I'll think about it. Thank you.
No, please do. I mean, we can't promise to get it for you, but if we put it out there and we let the families know, hey, this is what we're looking at, and it's not like $20,000, we'll try our best.
I mean, I'm partial to a whole room full of gavels myself. That's just, but I don't want to, I don't want to favor the Gilder Lerman, history program. That'll be wrong. So.
I just wanted to, if you could spread the word among your teacher colleagues that would love to be able to help, like if you have any ideas, I mean, please send our email around. And again, we have a certain budget, obviously, but I mean, would love to consider getting, fulfilling some of these needs. So please spread the word if you would.
Okay, all right, so I'm gonna move on. Thank you so much. We posted the PTA donation page here, https://alhs-pta-dues.chitterup.com, and we will look to go and put it out there for everyone to see. And if you know of any alumni, please share the word. Moving on. I really don't have much to say as the PTA president. I will say outstanding job to all my committee members. I had 3 goals when I came in October: bylaws, a new bank account, and a fundraising page. And we've done all 3 and then some. I'm hoping in next year, whoever the next person comes up, whatever their goals are, one of their main goals will continue with virtual and possibly come up with some additional fundraising pages and maybe even sell a couple of items in support of the PTA. And remember, the PTA doesn't support just students and parents and families, it supports the teachers. And with everything that's been going on these past couple of months, I mean, us parents, we're always saying, students, and we sometimes forget the teachers. But we're here to say, teachers, you have not been forgotten. And we support you guys just as strongly as we support our students. All right, moving on. Take a screenshot. We also will continuously share this. If you have any questions, concerns, can't reach your teachers and really need someone and nobody's responding, these are the key people that you want to get hold of. Okay, other than Ms. Muhammad and of course our principal, Mr. Hoogenboom. These are some additional emails. The phone numbers, I don't know how valid they will be up until next week. Your best bet will be email. And again, if they don't respond within normal 24, 48-hour workday schedule, then definitely get with Ms. Muhammad or Mr. Hoogenboom, our principal. Okay, moving on. Here's where our calendar looks. Thank you so much, Ms. Muhammad, for posting this information. Not quite sure for Wednesday and Friday if we want to change the wording just a little bit, because that may confuse some people. But my team and I will talk with you tomorrow or next week to discuss that further.
I'll change it to in-person learning.
Okay, but also we don't want to forget. But we'll talk more about that with you and Mr. Robinson, because we also don't want to forget our students who are not coming into school, because we don't want them to think that they're not having classes. Report card distribution is not quite a physical distribution, it's an online distribution. You'll have to go on to your child's pupil path or to My Students to get their grades. Parent Teachers Conference is on Thursday and Friday, Thursday evening and Friday afternoon. If the teachers have not been emailing you, which is maybe a good thing, but just to go and ensure there's a well balance, contact the teachers. If you don't know who your students' teachers are, then get with Ms. Muhammad and she will make sure you have that information. One thing we didn't annotate here is that, and you may want to put that out there just a little bit more bold, is the 22nd is the first day of blended learning going back. So I'm very excited about that. Let me see. Spring recess starts on the 29th, and therefore the kids return on the 5th, going right back to blended learning. And just as quickly, the marking period 2, which has already started, am I correct, Ms. Muhammad? That we're currently in marking period 2?
Yes, we're in marking period 2.
Thank you. The second marking period ends on April 23rd, with the distribution of cards on the 30th of April. Oh, and for anyone who is taking the SAT, I'm so sorry. The SAT at Abraham Lincoln will be April 13th. And am I correct? That is in person. And if they have not registered already, to get with their guidance counselor as soon as possible.
So the test is in person. It is I actually run the SAT. So it is in person.
Ms. Fontana,
even if
correct?
Fontana, yes.
Oh, thank you.
So even if we close, it is my understanding that it will be open. I don't know about new rules, like if we end up with like more than 2 corona cases and the building's closed for 10 days. I don't know if they're going to postpone the SAT. Like we haven't gotten exact guidance about that. But we were told that it would happen regardless of whether or not they opened the building for blended learning or not. Also, the students were given a deadline for March 1st to confirm that they were taking the exam. However, now that we are back in the building and we are less concerned about staffing the test, and I way over ordered, so any student that has not signed up yet, it still is available to sign up. They're just and they'll get the same information as every other kid.
Okay, excellent. Thank you so much. Okay, just real quickly, we've gone over this before. In October, we had the same thing going on, and we're going to do it again. Virtual PTA and SLT elections. All PTA and SLT positions will be open to everyone. We ask that all families interested in not just voting, but also to run the office, we ask that you please contact Ms. Muhammad for your verification pin. Verification pin is very important so that we know that you do belong to the school in any way, shape, or form, and that your student attends. The positions will start in July, but we will have a right, as I call it, is that we will work with the person who is filling our position and work with them to transition so that we're not just dropping everything. There's several things that we need to do in person in the school. And we also have to visit the bank to transition some information. So that will be on April 15th. So the only two things we'll be discussing in April will be the virtual PTA SLT election. And then of course, the next most important thing will be about sports. So it is very important that you share the word and please attend because we need at least a quorum of 8 people in order to do the election. Okay. Just so you know, the openings are co-presidents. So we'll have 2 co-presidents. We'll have 1 vice president that'll be open, 2 co-secretaries and 2 co-treasurers. It is very important for the co-presidents, co-secretaries, and co-treasurers that we have 2 in each section. We ran across a little problem this year, but thanks to the entire team, we were able to overcome and be able to continue through the obstacle. But it is very important. These positions, though easy, can get a little overwhelming as the months go by due to personal reasons or just the amount of work that needs to be done. So we hope that everyone will think about attending, if not being on the executive board, at least participating in the voting scheme. It's actually quite interesting. Yes, the next thing is the SLT. There's a school leadership team. What is the school leadership team? Basically, it's a group of people who develop educational policies for their school. It's the one time that we sit down straight with the principal and his team and we discuss issues, anything that's going on with our students, the pros and cons, and we try to make things right and we discuss it as a group. It's a consensus-based decision-making in the best way possible. Okay. Committee reports. There's not really much on the committee reports to be discussed at this point, but I wanted to make sure I gave the committees a huge thank you. The bylaw committee tonight, you have done a fantastic job on bringing forth our bylaws and getting them approved with the general PTA. Thank you so much, as well as the finance committee team. If it wasn't for your team, not only would we have not been able to transfer to a new bank account, Ms. Attwood, that was awesome, but also we were able to get our fundraising page, or should I say our donation page, operational as of this week. So thank you. I greatly appreciate all the work that everyone has done on both these committees. And to the general PTA, thank you so much for the time and patience on allowing these committees to be able to work. New business, the one thing that everybody I'm sure has tried to stay on, and I thank you, and we need it before 8 o'clock. We're almost there, Miss Attwood. We are now going to do our door prize of choosing 2 parents and 1 teacher. Do we still only have 2 teachers?
It appears that way.
All right, I wish you guys the best of luck. But first we're gonna go with the parents. So I am going to go mute for a while and let you, Mr. Sandor, and your team work your magic. Remember, we're going for 2 teachers. And Miss Sandor, am I correct? It's $10 for each card.
$10 each card, and we'll just need the winners to send in their email address because it will be delivered via email.
Yes. All right. Okay. So can everyone see this lovely green and yellow picker wheel? I'll make sure that my screen is actually shared or not.
I can see it now.
All right, perfect.
Yes.
Great. All right, so we have a list of, well, I sent out the list just a few minutes ago, about 12 names. I'm told that number 3 is my error. So if number 3 comes up first, we'll have to respin. Otherwise, I will, shall we do a parent first? Or should we just, or should we do?
Yeah, the
We'll
parent
do
first.
parent,
Let's do parent.
teacher,
Yes.
parent.
All right, sounds good. All right, so we have 12 here, and I will hit the spin button, and please, everyone. All right, so number 5 is our first winner.
That's Lashone Meadows.
All right, wonderful. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right. Okay.
Congratulations.
Yes, congratulations, Miss Meadows.
All right.
Thank you.
Sounds good. All right. So this number picker is actually better if I do the second parent. Is that okay?
Oh, sure.
Yeah. All right. Just because there's otherwise, you know, knowing my luck, will probably pick number 5 again or number 3 and that sort of thing. And plus, this way the teachers will have a little bit more suspense. So, all right. All ready?
Yeah.
Please, no wagering, please. All right. Number 11. Outstanding.
Shayna Giles.
All right. Wonderful. All right. Congratulations.
Hey, thank you.
Congratulations to both of our winners.
Congratulations.
Of course, everyone here is a winner for participating in the PTA, but some are more lucky than others. So I think the best odds, though, all night are the 2 teachers that we have, because both of you have a 50-50 chance of actually winning this. So are we ready for the, all right, wonderful. Number 2.
Fontana it is.
All right, well, there you go.
And Nara, the odds are against you. We gotta go and we gotta work this out next time.
Just a reminder, the winners, please email the PTA mailbox, the PTA Gmail with your email so we can make sure to get them out to you.
All right. So thank you to all participants, and there you go. All right.
And Miss Fontana, no sharing with Mr. Capizzo because he wasn't on tonight, so he doesn't get anything.
You can
I
share
will,
with your
I will
mom.
tell him. I will tell him that.
Wow.
But you can't share with your NAR because this is the second month that he didn't get anything, and you know it's not fair. I think Mr. Capizzo has something to do with that.
Full disclosure, the screen was shared. I'm
right. Yeah. Maybe next time, right?
Maybe. All right, so just real quick, letting everyone know, April 15th is election night. I will do my very best to make up for the time tonight, which is before 8 o'clock, Miss Attwood, if you're still on. April 15th is election night. Please, 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 everyone, if at all possible, that's on here, spread the word. Be on April 15th, 6 o'clock. The flyer will be going out, if not by tomorrow. Ms. Muhammad will have that to you tonight. Then by Monday morning, we'll have the flyers out with the information to sign in. And lastly, if anybody has any questions, concerns, anything you want to see for May, please let us know. Any ideas that you may have, not just for the teachers, but for the students that you'd like us to maybe put a fundraising thing together, let us know, send us an email. We look forward to seeing everybody in April, and please donate to the PTA. I know that I sound like I'm kind of money hungry, but yeah, the PTA really needs the money so we can support these students and support the staff. Everyone has done an amazing job, and again, it has been a rough year. So thank you, everyone. Have a great night, and congratulations to everyone who won the door prizes.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Executive board, just stay
Good
on a few more
night.
minutes.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.